Imagine waking up and realizing you cannot move a single muscle. Your eyes are wide open, but your body feels like it is made of heavy lead. You try to scream for help, but no sound comes out at all. It feels like your voice is trapped deep inside your throat. This isn't just a bad dream. It is sleep paralysis. For most people, this experience is terrifying. They see shadows in the corner of their room. They feel hands on their shoulders. But for me, something different happened when I was 10 years old. It was a night after my parents took me to see a movie. I had just fallen into a deep sleep. At around 4 in the morning, I woke up suddenly. I could see my alarm clock glowing in the dark. However, I couldn't feel my pajamas against my skin. I couldn't feel my head on the pillow. It was as if I were floating in a void of weight. My heart began to race. I felt like I was dying. I imagined being trapped in a coffin while still alive. Then, I saw him for the first time. He was standing in the corner by my closet. His name would later become Mr. Brown Sticklegs. He had 2 oversized red eyes that glowed like embers. His face was like a white porcelain mask. It had no mouth and no nose. Only those haunting red eyes stared at me. When he stood up, his body unfolded like pieces of origami. He grew so tall that his head touched my ceiling. He didn't make a sound as he moved toward my bed. He seemed to glide through the air rather than walk on the floor. His long, thin arms reached down toward my face. I wanted to scream, but I was frozen in place. His fingers were long and spindly. They touched my eyelids and pushed them shut. His touch wasn't cold, but it felt strange. He spoke with a voice so deep I could feel it vibrating in my chest. He told me not to struggle. He told me to sleep. I chose to believe him because the truth was too scary. The next morning, I told my parents about the visitor. They told me it was just a dream. My dad asked me to draw a picture of what I saw. Because I ran out of black crayon, I used a dark brown instead. My dad saw the drawing and laughed. He teased the creature for having stick-like legs. From that moment on, we gave him a funny name. We called him Mr. Brown Sticklegs. The silly name made me feel safer. Every night before bed, my dad would walk into my room. He would wave at the corner and ask the monster to leave me alone. It turned a terrifying experience into something almost like a game. I started to look for him every night. I even checked if he followed me to sleepovers. Over time, he stopped showing up as often. Months passed until the night before my first day of 5th grade. Suddenly, he was there again. This time, he wasn't in the corner. He was hovering directly over my bed. His mask-like face was inches away from mine. I tried to scream, but only a small puff of air escaped. He spoke again with that deep, hollow voice. He told me to be quiet. Then, he held up a piece of paper. It was crumpled and torn at the edges. The paper showed a drawing of me. It was a simple sketch of a girl on a blue rectangle. He said he liked my drawing of him. He mentioned that he liked having pants in my picture. He asked if I would draw another one for him. Since I couldn't speak, I just had to think about the answer. He seemed to read my thoughts. He tucked the paper under my pillow and closed my eyes again. When I woke up, the drawing was still there. It wasn't a dream at all. The paper was physically underneath my head. I realized then that he was real. I sat at my desk and drew him perfectly. I tried to capture every detail of his mask and his long legs. I even gave him blue pants this time. I wanted him to have something nice to wear. Underneath the drawing, I wrote out a long letter for him. I had many questions burning in my mind. I asked him what his name was. I asked how old he was. I asked why he visited me at night. I even asked if he liked his new pants. I wanted to know if we could be friends. That night, I tucked the paper under my pillow with hope. For weeks, nothing happened. The drawings just stayed under my head until morning. It felt like he was waiting for the right moment to speak again. Finally, during my winter break, he appeared one last time. The sun was coming through my window curtains. He stood there, his black skin absorbing the light. His red eyes looked wider than they ever had before. He held my letter in his long fingers. He thanked me for the gift of the blue pants. Then, he began to answer my questions one by one. He told me he didn't have a name I could pronounce. He said he was ageless because he lived outside of time. He admitted that he didn't know what a school was. But then, he told me why he came to my room. He said he visited to feed on the energy of my soul. My heart hammered against my ribs like a trapped bird. I tried to pull away, but I was still paralyzed. He reached out and gently patted my forehead to calm me down. He wanted to explain what feeding actually meant for him. He asked if I had ever been to the ocean. He described it as a place that looks endless and blue. He told me he didn't want to hurt me. He just wanted to share the energy with someone else. He promised that my soul would remain intact. He said the process was like a peaceful trade of warmth. He would take a small spark, and in return, I would feel a sense of peace. It was a strange, ancient bargain between two different worlds. He told me that by letting him stay, I wouldn't have to be afraid anymore. He promised that one day, the fear would vanish completely. Eventually, he would only come when I invited him. He became less of a monster and more of a neighbor. To this day, I still think about that tall man in the corner. Some people see a demon, I saw a lonely spirit seeking a connection. He didn't want to hurt me at all. He just wanted someone to acknowledge his existence. I grew up, but my memories of those nights remain vivid. Sometimes, when it is very quiet, I feel a strange warmth near my bed. It isn't a feeling of fear anymore. It feels like a heavy blanket of safety. Some people say the things that visit us in our sleep are shadows. Others say they are guardians from another realm. For me, he was just a tall man with stick legs and a very polite attitude. He didn't want my soul, he just wanted a friend to talk to. I still have the old drawings tucked away in a box. They are faded now, but the blue pants are still visible. Every time I look at them, I think about that night of truth. It is strange how we define what scares us. Is it the monster that is scary, or the silence? Perhaps some things aren't meant to be fought. Maybe some things just need a name and a pair of blue pants. He was only there because I let him in. Now, I often wonder if he still visits other children. Does he have other friends with his own names? Do they exchange drawings under their pillows too? The world is much bigger than our bedrooms. There are many layers to the night that we can't see while we are awake. My fear was replaced by a strange kind of understanding. I learned that even the things in the shadows can be peaceful. They just want to be seen, and they want to be understood. I still don't know if he is still there. Sometimes I feel like a friend watching over my sleep. He isn't lurking anymore, he's just waiting for me to notice him. It's a strange comfort to have in the dark of night. If you ever find yourself unable to move, don't panic. Just look into the shadows and say hello. You might find that the monster isn't so scary after all. He might just be looking for a reason to smile at you. Think about it for a second. Why are we so afraid of what we don't understand? If something was standing in your room, would you scream or would you talk? Some people think I'm crazy for making friends with a spirit. But they weren't there when the air turned cold. They didn't feel the weight of the atmosphere change. Only I knew that he wasn't trying to hurt me at all. He was just lonely in his own way. What would you do if someone appeared in your room? Would you try to fight them or offer them a drawing? Is it possible that some spirits are actually quite chill? Or am I just imagining the kindness in his eyes because I want to believe it? The truth is, I don't really care what they think. I know what I saw in that room. I know what he said to me in the dark. And I know that some monsters are just people we haven't met yet. Would you have been brave enough to draw him a picture? Or would you have spent the whole night screaming into the void? Some things in this world aren't as scary as they look. Sometimes, the only difference between a monster and a friend is a name. I chose to give him one. It made the nights much easier for both of us. Now, when the shadows grow long, I don't feel afraid anymore. I just wonder if he likes his blue pants today. If you had been in my position, would you have stayed silent? Would you have tried to find a way to communicate with him? It's easy to judge from the outside when you aren't the one stuck in bed. You don't feel the weight on your chest or the cold air on your neck. You don't see the glowing eyes or hear the deep voice. You only see the story I tell. But those moments were real for me. They changed how I view the world and its hidden corners. The next time you go to bed, just take a breath and relax. The shadows aren't always hunting, sometimes they are just waiting. They might be looking for a friend who is willing to listen. Maybe they want to show you something beautiful. They might just want to share a piece of the world with you. You never know what is happening in the spaces between our dreams. Some secrets are hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone to look closely enough. I looked, and I found a friend. Think about that for a second. If you were trapped in your own bed, unable to move or speak, how would you react? Would you fight the entity, or would you try to make peace with it? Was he just a lonely spirit looking for some kindness in a scary world? What would you have done if a tall man with glowing eyes appeared next to your pillow? Is it possible that even the things we fear are just seeking a bit of connection?